Is America's Mayor Live, coming to you from Dover, New Hampshire. And we're covering the things that happened today and making sure that you get a complete picture of it, because Fox, when they were covering the president's rather remarkable cabinet meeting today, which listening to it and watching it to the extent you could live or later, it would be enormously helpful to you as a citizen and maybe get you more involved in the political process, which I think we all should be interested in, getting more people involved. It's really the best answer to getting us out of the problem that was created for us in the black and dark days of the prior Democrat, socialist, communist administration, and crooked as hell. Fox switched off the cabinet meeting because it was more important to tell you immediately, like it was an emergency, that Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce were going to get married. Now, I think it's wonderful they're getting married. I think. I mean, I don't know their personal situation, nor do I really care. God bless them. I think you could have waited. Yeah. It's not as if there was an attack or a person dying, but it just tells you how frivolous they are. And so if we wonder why is there a kind of not every American, obviously, but why is there a sort of silliness and lack of responsibility and accountability among a lot of citizens? Well, the educational system and the media lead you in that direction. It would be like we're all in class, right? And we're studying a very important subject. Let's say we're learning trigonometry. And all of a sudden, let me just take an interruption and tell you that Taylor Swift, it was just announced that Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce are getting married. Let's take a little time out to talk about that.
Good analogy.
Now, even if you don't like them, we'll keep it on so you can criticize them.
Right.
Like, that's more important. This was a remarkable, I've never seen anything like this, and I've been involved with government, both watching it and being very interested and being in it forever, since before they had cars. And I never remember a president as transparent as this. First of all, he tells you everything he's thinking. And he changes his mind, and you can watch him do it. I mean, it's a heck of I remember that in his first administration. I can go over some of the absolutely incredibly wise and sensitive decisions he made by being able to change his mind.
Here's a cut from today's press conference.
I think this. You have not had this happen for 4 years.
I think I would have said, are you really asking me that?
And you'd ask one question to Biden, and it was always the ice cream question, right? What flavor ice cream do you like best? I like vanilla. And that was the end of the conference. I think now we've done enough. These people are very busy. I want to just thank, this is the greatest, this has never been done before. First of all, a cabinet meeting was sacred. You'd never let the fake news media in. But the fake news media isn't all fake. It's, a lot of it is, but it's not all. I think it's a great thing. I think maybe it's going to be done in the future. I hope it's going to be done. But you really get the word out. I mean, we had, each one of these people spoke. I think each one, if I thought one of them did badly, I would call that person out. I would say, Christy, what the heck are you doing?
He would.
No, but no, seriously, you have a very talented group of people. They get along, they work along together. And there's something really nice about just, the openness of what we're doing. It's government. It's an open government. That's what we are. And
it is incredible.
We haven't made too many mistakes. We maybe will, but we haven't made too many mistakes. We've called it right. And I think you can be very proud of your country. We are a respected country again. We are really, right now, respected at the highest level, and we're doing.
We want to keep going.
How can you argue with that?
We can keep playing it, Mayor. Sorry, I was
That's
coming
what
back
we're
to you
doing,
there.
and we're taking care
Well,
of
you
crime.
know, I-
and
I-
I hope just in
Go ahead.
I think that even if you, let's say you're a Democrat and you don't agree, now if you hate him, that's your problem.
Right.
That's really your problem. If you hate that guy, I mean, you don't have to agree with him. You don't even like him.
Right.
Hating him is a little, you don't know him. How can you possibly hate him? I know him. If I hated him, it would be based on knowing him. But you don't know any of these public officials. They're a creation. They're a creation of an absolutely corrupt news media. You have no idea what they're really like. I do, because I know a lot of them. And I know how far from the truth a lot of it is. But in any event, even if you want to criticize it because you want to do it better, you watch it. Whether he makes the right decisions or the wrong decisions, and I believe he makes mostly the right ones, that's about as good a process as you could have for making decisions. So even if you're a left-wing Democrat, that's the way you should make decisions. Not like silly, crazy, stupid, idiotic, corrupt, perverted Biden behind closed doors and behind a screen like the Wizard of Oz. We don't even know, to this day, we don't know who was making the decisions. And I mean, that's because they were hiding the ball on us. They were hiding the truth that our president was non-compass menace. But, you know, Obama was pretty much like that too. Obama, would go 7 months without a press conference. And Obama got, just ridiculous treatment because he was the first black president. But when you'd listen to him without his thing in front of him, he was a bumbler. We'll get out a, I used to do this with my ex-wife. We would count all the ooms in a 1 minute sentence. We'd get up to 20, 30, which explains why he never wrote an article to be head of the law review. You think he wrote that book? No way. No way.
It was like a fake high and mighty persona that he used to put on.
Obama was an enormously facile guy with a decent intellect, but they try to make him into like a real. I mean, Trump is twice as smart. The amount of information he carries in his head and analyzed just today was remarkable. Now, have there been American presidents who could do that? Of course. Have there been some probably even better in terms of that? In terms of results, it's pretty hard to think who was much better.
Yeah, I thought it was really a marathon. And I think it's almost like Trump needs that kind of time to get warmed up, because by the end of it, halfway through and to the end, he was on all 8 cylinders, I thought. I think he was delivering his message beautifully to the American people.
Yeah, and it was, I think he was very proud of his people too. They all did a good, he's absolutely right. They all did a very good job of, in a very succinct way and not in a silly or frivolous way, presenting the situations confronting them. Robert Kennedy and the vice president, Secretary of State. And, we were trying to determine where people sit, Ted, and they got a good historian there, whether it's the president or someone else. They've got the cabinet members in the right historical position. Right next to him on either side is the Secretary of State and Secretary of Defense, original cabinet positions. And right across from him is the vice president, obviously an original cabinet position. Right. And then the Attorney General on one side and the Secretary of the Treasury, Alexander Hamilton, on the other side.
Yeah, and none of them
and right next to him to his right is Thomas Jefferson, otherwise known as Marco Rubio.
And none of the people in that room were ever rushed either. Like, they were given ample time to make their points.
So you see the two people on his right and left, right?
Hmm.
Then look across, and there are 3 people facing him. In the middle is J.D. Vance, Vice President. On one side is the Attorney General, and on the other side is the Secretary of the Treasury. So now you throw everybody else out of the room. Just that little segment right there in the middle. That was Washington's cabinet. The rest of that thing didn't exist. All those other people sitting there. Yeah, look at it. I'd like to draw something to show you There's Basant. There's yeah, there they are. There's JD in the middle. There's right. The lady is sitting forward, so you can't see the Basant is to JD's right, and the Attorney General is to his left. So if you just cut that out, right? You just cut that out, and you got rid of all the rest of it. The rest of the room would be empty if George Washington was sitting there.
Yeah.
And that might be part of the problem, that we became so big, such a big central government, and we were never supposed to be. That's what communist governments are. That's what Nazi governments are. The bigger the central government becomes, the more of a chance that it's going to erode your liberties and take it over. The more disciplined it is, the smaller it is, the more it is very, very aware of its limited powers and exercises those brilliantly, as opposed to trying to create other powers. The more you're gonna have a country that is that's a remarkable example of freedom. So, what an incredible job the group that he deployed to reduce crime in the district did. And this comes from somebody, I'm sorry if I say this and it offends you or something by bragging, but who reduced crime more than any mayor ever, anywhere, by a lot, in a place where reducing crime was considered totally impossible to do. I don't think anything is impossible to do when it's a human subject. And my whole approach to all the problems in New York City, where they were created by human beings, if they were created by human beings, they could be solved by human beings. And sorry, but they were created by Democrat, liberal, left-wing policies. They weren't just invented. I faced a different interpretation of them, but the same unbelievably dangerous and insane prejudice, which is the prejudice in favor of criminals and against victims. In fact, we don't have it now, but one of the things that really helped me a lot, both as Associate Attorney General and as U.S. Attorney and as mayor, I started in this thing about reducing crime in 1970. I resigned, finally left office in 1989. So that's the period. And I mean, I handled a lot of other things and did a lot of other things, but most of it was dealing with the problem of crime. And, oh, come on, don't do that to me. God, I must have
This is some
been eating.
B-roll back then. Do you
I
recognize
must have been
that
hungry
room?
that day. Look how skinny I was.
Do you recognize this room?
Yeah, I recognize it, sure.
What was that, a court? Is that the courthouse?
That's the Justice Department.
That's the United States Justice Department, yeah. So I'm just playing some B-roll, Mayor, as you talk about some of your work. Well, maybe we'll listen in. What were you saying here?
I believe that's the Attorney General's Task Force on Violent Crime, which really should put the report out again.
I grew up in Brooklyn.
The report of that committee, which was
Actually, that happens from listening
which
to all
I
those, tapes.
which I helped to establish and recommend to President Reagan and Attorney General Smith, was James Q. Wilson, the professor at Harvard, who is the architect of the broken windows theory and the career criminal. If James Q. Wilson were alive today, in about 10 minutes, he could tell you everything that was wrong. They're doing all the things now that he pointed out in 1978, 79, 80, 81. And we were doing wrong then, and changed and brought crime down both in New York and in the rest of the country by record numbers, only to get ruined in New York by when we elected the communist de Blasio. And in the country, well, starting with Clinton, but not too bad with Clinton. I mean, Clinton was a moderate. Nowadays, you would consider Clinton to be a moderate Democrat or a moderate politician, not just a Democrat.
Yeah.
I mean, they wouldn't tolerate Clinton now. The left wing of their party would get, can we please put that off?
Yeah.
I think I have the same tie. Ted?
You might be wearing
All
it.
these years later, it's the same time. That was probably 1981, my guess, looking at it.
All right.
Those are so
Could
interesting
be
to listen
82.
to.
The latest it would be was 82.
Yeah.
Now, how long ago is that? That's a while ago. It's amazing that if I pulled out that report that was done and put out and led ultimately to more legislation on these issues than anything else, and really corrected a lot of the left-wing accommodation to criminals that led to the crime reductions eventually in the 90s, you would find that almost all those same things could be applied today. Like the career criminal program. The whole thing the president did yesterday with cash bail was to go, basically what James Q. Wilson recommended and we put into effect was only a few people or a lot fewer people commit most of the crimes than you think. You're not dealing with a whole universe of people. You're dealing with a much smaller number of people that are creating your biggest problems. Career criminals who are crime machines. If you think about crime statistics, you put them out on the street, you're going to get, 10 burglaries a week, and then another 10, and then another 10. So if you have them in jail for 5 years, you save yourself, 2,000 burglaries. So you can look at it that way statistically in order to analyze it, but then you got to make it human. All those people keep their property. And now we translate it into murders, and it results in saving more black lives than anything ever did. 90%, roughly every year, of the murders in DC for the last 20 or 30 years have been black people. So if you eliminate 10 murders, you save 9 black people each week. And how they turn that into racism, it's just the opposite. It's just the opposite. What Trump did in DC, the biggest beneficiaries were the black community of Washington, D.C. And it's pathetic what the way the black politicians, including that idiot mayor they have, and that slob of a governor, have sold out the black population in Chicago. I pointed out on my earlier show, nobody bothers to go look for this, but I mean, each weekend in Washington, in Chicago, is like they just kill everybody. They killed 6 people this weekend, and they wounded 27. I don't know. That's more than our wartime numbers. How many people died in Ukraine this weekend and were wounded in Ukraine? About the same. This is just one city, not an entire country. And they don't have a barbaric invader coming in. The invader is the Democrat Party, because you cannot blame Chicago and anybody else but the Democrat Party. There's been a Democratic mayor for 65 years. And the last one they selected was, as Rob pointed out on Newsmax, they picked the stupidest, most radical idiot in Chicago to be their mayor. And he says absolutely ridiculous things. And his people are being killed in disgraceful numbers. I mean, I couldn't live with myself. I'd resign as mayor if I ended up being in office for a year and I had with 6 murders and 27 shootings on a weekend. I was having no impact on that. I would say somebody else. I'm not up to this job. Somebody else should do it. I mean, I'm not going to go to heaven. God's going to hold me responsible for this. You got to be accountable. God, that's a word that scares the hell out of the Democrats, right? Accountable. Wow. Well, the DC crime was reduced as a miracle. And there's a reason for that. There's a reason for this. This is not rocket. Well, it is rocket science in a way. Very few people have been able to do it. DC has a very small police department. And then they went through their defund the police thing like New York did. New York took $1 billion out of the police department. Nobody ever points that out. And nobody ever put it back. Police department is down to 32,000. It used to be 41,000. DC has something like 1,200 patrol officers for a city of 800,000. That's absurd. That means they can't afford to put out more than about 400 at any one time. So you know DC, you can think of how big it is, right? 400 police officers is not very much. So what Trump was able to do for them, for which they should kiss his ring, right, is he put out another 500, so figure every shift about 200, right? Another 200 National Guard, but more importantly, 800 federal agents who make arrests. So that would be drug enforcement agents, immigration agents, very important, ATF, alcohol, tobacco, and firearms, going for guns. Now, so today, he made an offer to Chicago to give them the same resources and to show that the slob is entitled to be called the slob, who's the governor of Illinois. He turned it down in a very nasty way. Well, you got to not care about your people to turn it down. I mean, who knows how many will get killed this weekend there? They obviously, for 60, 70 years, they haven't been policing the place adequately. This has been going on 65 years of Democrat mayors, one jackass, one terrible one after another. Billions of dollars going in to help the poor and the Black community there. All of it, if not most of it, if not all of it, being taken out by the crooked politicians in Chicago. I don't know, Philadelphia may be more crooked, New York may be more crooked, but it almost doesn't matter. Never gets to the poor people.
Yeah, how much more of a controlled experiment do they need to?
Well, I don't know. And all of these not-for-profits, I mean, not-for-profit to me means let me go investigate it and I'll put 10 people in jail. That's what it did when I was U.S. attorney. I mean, I couldn't investigate all of them. I wanted to. I mean, every once in a while you find one that's really wonderful and legitimate. But by and large, the ones that are involved with homelessness and the ones that are involved with illegals, illegal aliens, and the ones that are involved in delivering service, they're a bunch of frauds. Otherwise, we would have solved these problems 30 years ago. So Johnson did the Great Society. And one of the things that turned me off on the Democrat Party was his Model Cities program. So I was investigating it, and I couldn't find any money going to the people of Harlem or the people of Bedford-Stuyvesant. I had like 20, 30 politicians that were taking the money. I was a kid. It was like shocking. It was absolutely shocking. I said, this is all phony. It's like a big lie. And then, you know, it was all borne out when you learn more about Lyndon Johnson, who, you know, used to carry cash around and pay people off on the Senate floor. Guy's a complete crook. It's horrible what's been done to the poor people. And the Black people, yes, but poor people in general. The money that's been allocated for them has been stolen to a very, very large extent. And that goes on right now. I mean, all these homeless programs and all of these programs for the illegals, unbelievably surrounded by fraud, kickbacks. So I don't get this. I don't really get this. I mean, you got to have some kind of conscience. So they did have their first murder in Washington today after 12 days. So I guess it was the 13th day. That was this morning, you know, the beginning of the day, 12:45 today in the morning in Washington. There was a man who was shot and died on the way to the hospital. Now, I have here a report of the crimes in Chicago this weekend, the city that the governor and the mayor don't want the president's help. They don't want National Guard and they don't want ATF, DEA, FBI. I'd be begging for it. And I don't think I'd be able to look at myself in the mirror if I turned it down just because I was a Democrat, which is what's wrong with them and why you got to get them out of office. They're the reason these problems haven't been solved. And I'm talking about Democrats. So, I mean, you can, This is every week we could do this. I used to do it. I did for about a year. I used to report the number of crimes on a weekend. There's Fatso right there. And a little entitled rich boy and the biggest dummy in Chicago. The two of them. This is like when we had Cuomo and de Blasio during the pandemic. It was a tragedy. One guy was getting old people killed, and the other was getting everybody else killed.
He looks like the quintessential crook. I don't know why. He just.
Well, I don't think Pritzker's too rich to be a crook. I don't know if the other guy's a crook or stupid, but he's completely stupid and he's a left-wing jackass.
It looks like it.
But I mean, that city is so corrupt, it's a joke. So, I mean, the first shooting, I mean, they reported, it started, there were only 15 minutes into the weekend when they had the first killing this weekend. Within 15 minutes, the 1700 block of North Harding Avenue, a 25-year-old woman was outside when she was shot in the shoulder. No, this was one of the casualties, and was taken to Stroger Hospital in critical condition. It's unknown as to whether she survived. But then at 1 a.m., a 27-year-old man was outside when he heard shots being fired, and he felt pain. He was shot. At 2:45, we had another shooting. 19-year-old was shot. 5:19 in the morning on Saturday, we had an argument, and a 42-year-old man was shot. 7:13, another one, critical condition. 9:12, guy was shot in the leg, good condition. Now noon, 30-year-old man shot, unknown person. This guy will never get found, right? 7:45, another 37-year-old man. 10:59 in the morning. Now 10:59 in the evening. 44-year-old man was walking on the sidewalk when he was approached by an armed man with a handgun demanding his property. A brief struggle ensued and the gun went off, hitting the victim in an ankle. At 11:16, on South Stony Island Avenue, a 21-year-old man walked into the Jackson Park Hospital with multiple gunshot wounds. He was in a park and he felt injury and pain, and he had multiple bullets in him. This is a city. This is not the Russians attacking Ukraine. This is our attacking ourselves. And nobody cares. That dumb mayor, these are black people that are being killed, jackass. I mean, it doesn't matter to me if they were black or white, they're people. Then I can go through Sunday and 6 people dead, 27 injured, and some of those on that 27 list could be dead. And who knows what it'll be this weekend? You're lucky if it's 3 or 4 dead, 10. I mean, the least I've ever seen is like 3 and 12 or something like that. Or sometimes you have 10 and 40.
Their lives have been altered. Many of their lives have been altered. Some of them, they're injured probably for the rest of their lives. No,
and also it's changed. I mean, if you go back to the old days, it really was in a way even maybe more, well, not worse, but it was different. It was contained in poor areas. Now it's all over the damn city. I mean, it's not a safe city to go to. You might as well go to some of these war zones. I know this is very hard for anybody to believe. You're safer in Israel. You're a hell of a lot safer in Tel Aviv than you are in Chicago or Washington. I mean, by a lot.
I believe that.
I know it's hard for people. It's like processing that it's a lot more dangerous to get in a car than to go on a plane. But the chance of dying in a car is like 5 times greater than dying in an airplane. Well, I'm telling you, the chance that you will get killed is considerably less in Tel Aviv than it is in that Slav's city.
You want to hear if this is a little bit of his comments yesterday?
Do I have to?
Well, I want to know from you, is this a threat?
Let's listen to the entitled rich boy who
to incite my people and any federal official who would come to.
But why he has to intrude on something so serious as public service and get people killed, I don't know. The Pritzker
Any federal-
family is a multi-billion-dollar privileged family that has supported some of the worst things for America ever, like the Clintons. And this guy is there. He's probably in government because they don't want him in business because he's so stupid.
Any federal official
Well, you gotta
come
read,
to
too.
Chicago and try to incite my people into violence as a pretext for something darker and more dangerous.
That's outrageous that he's
watching.
reading that out.
And we are taking names.
Yeah,
This
take
country
the name.
has survived darker periods than the one that we're going through right now. And eventually, the pendulum will swing back. Maybe even next year.
Oh, what are you listening to that
Donald
for?
Trump has already shown himself
That's
to have little
gibberish.
regard
I mean, it's somebody wrote it for him, gave it to him. He goes out there and he reads it, and he's probably been taking lessons because he's got a shitload of money. He's probably been taking lessons in speaking, but it's hard to take lessons in thinking. You either have, they can't give you brain. There's no such thing as a brain transplant yet. That guy needs a brain transplant and what's that? Ozempic. He needs Ozempic pretty badly. If he gets any fatter, it's going to be hard for him to read. He's going to have to put it out here like this. Well, the president did two things yesterday that are worth mentioning again today because they got to be carried out. And they're really, really enormously important, much more than you probably think. At the core of half of the increase in crime in the last 4 or 5 years in the Democrat cities and states is the end of bail, cashless bail. Now, what that means is that 70% of the crimes for which people are arrested, now I know New York City the best, right? In New York City, where we would hold them in jail, at least until they made bail, which means it would interrupt their criminal activities and also get you a pretty meaningful investment until they'll come back. They're just let out right away. It's like, let's not interrupt their drug dealing. They'll be back in 6 hours. It's enormously counterproductive. It destroys the morale of the police and the neighborhood. So the guy is a drug dealer running the neighborhood, acting like a big deal. Cops come along and arrest him. And he's back in 5, 6 hours. Half the people in the neighborhood think the cops are corrupt. Well, the cops aren't corrupt. The judicial system is, because they let him out. And dealing drugs is not a violent crime. Yes, it is. It kills people. Those things they're selling kill people. I don't know. We've got a tremendous increase in the overdose of drugs, and now marijuana kills you. It's 5 to 10 times more potent than it was, gosh, when I was a prosecutor. And it is shown to have an enormous impact on your brain. And of course, we were convinced to make it legal and everybody should have it. And New York has a couple of thousand places to buy it. I'm surprised. I mean, you probably can use your welfare money to get marijuana. Nobody's going to know. And the illegal aliens that came in, Adams would give them a credit card. I didn't get a credit card. You didn't get a credit card. But if you came in illegally from Venezuela and you were a rapist murderer, you got a credit card to help you get around so you could, and then if you got arrested, they'd put you out quickly so you could rape somebody else. That's the way it looks to me. I'm sorry. I'm a very, very practical guy who reduced crime enormously. It looks to me like they just don't care about human life. And they're criticizing Putin. They should criticize themselves. If you can sit there and not make substantial changes in Chicago, and this weekend you got another 6 people killed, there's something sick about you. You certainly shouldn't have any responsibility for the lives of other people. So cashless bail now there's only a certain amount legally. Of course, all the great experts like that Hockett jerk. Did we do that? Did we point out what a jackass Hockett was, Professor Hockett was? If you're at Cornell, don't take his course because he's an idiot. I'd give him an F. He basically said that mortgage fraud is the same thing as having 2 automobiles. Like to claim 2 primary residences is no different than having 2 automobiles. Now, this professor doesn't seem to know that the reason you do the 2 primary residences is to cheat the government out of taxes and to cheat the bank out of the proper interest rate and down payment. That's why you do it. That's called fraud. And it's really fraud, not what Trump was convicted of, because nobody lost any money with Trump. People lost money on this. The amount would depend on how long the fraud was carried out, some of them much longer than others. But the concept of doing it for the purpose of making a sniveling little amount of extra money, which whether you prosecute them or not, it sure tells you they shouldn't be in public office. They're effing scoundrels. So this professor says this stupid thing because he's not even thinking. All he's doing is trying to justify his left-wing Marxist liberal, let's do everything for criminals because it makes you feel better about yourself. I don't know what makes you feel better about yourself when you're helping criminals and not victims. Probably you're warped. I think it all has to do with taking God and morality out of America. People don't know how to ask proper questions about right and wrong anymore. It doesn't matter. You just do whatever the hell you want.
Not knowing right from wrong is a symptom of demoralization.
Yep. Well, we're going to take a short break, and we'll sell some things. U.S. Army Major Scott Smiley paid a high price serving our nation. Scott was leading his platoon in Iraq when a blast sent shrapnel through his eyes, leaving him blind and temporarily paralyzed. Scott would become the first blind active duty military officer before medically retiring years later. Thanks to friends like you, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation gave Scott and his family a mortgage-free, specially adapted smart home. Show your support for America's heroes now. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org.
Are you ready for some action?
I'm ready for action.
Get the Elite TV plan only through the portal. 218 channels, and it's only $69.95 a month.
Wow.
Including your free portal.
That's cheaper than everyone else.
Your favorite sports, movies, news,
Wow.
even daytime dramas. We're talking about ESPN, OAN, Newsmax,
Wow.
channels you can't get anymore in certain areas.
Compared to the competition, this is a way better deal.
Endless selection. Not to mention all the free music channels. There's over 700 premium and classic movies all ready to go.
Wow.
Plus, they got catch-up TV that allows you to go back and watch what you've missed or want to watch again. Cut your cable in half and get twice as much for free.
Way more channels for half the cost.
After the first year, the subscription then drops to $57.95 monthly,
Wow.
where you change or upgrade anytime. Go to QUXNow.com and get yours today. Use promo code RUDY. Act fast. These deals are selling out.
Here we are, pretty much at the beginning of the process here at this pristine, I call it a laboratory. It's not like a factory, it's like a hospital. This is the beginning of the process for roasting. Deep grain, very good quality. Most people don't use this quality. We deal with small farmers because they like to know who we're dealing with. They give us the highest quality, all organic, non-GMO. You should know all Arabica beans, no Robusto, all Arabica. They're going to go into the roaster, and it'll get roasted for about 20 minutes or so. Oh my goodness, look at these. My goodness. You're going to want to specially order these. This is what goes into Rudy's coffee. Breaking news. This is almost as important as Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. Cracker Barrel is going back to its original brand with the farmer that they disdained because he wasn't good enough for them back. Not just the barrel, but the great farmer is back. Now, I've never been to a Cracker Barrel. I actually thought it was a product, not a restaurant. I don't know. Maybe I have. It looks kind of familiar when I look at the typical interior, but I mean that's a typical interior of a country restaurant. Is there anyone near us here? This is kind of country here where we are. So they brought the farmer back. He has a name. I don't remember what his name is. That guy has a name, and everybody was all upset. They took him out. And where'd you get that?
Found
Just
this one
lifted it
online.
off.
Yeah,
Where'd you get that? That's great.
found this online. So he's thanking the president for getting his job back. There's the president.
Oh, to give me a break.
That is funny.
Who did that?
We'll find out. We got to make sure we give some proper credit here. So he's thanking. The
I'm
president.
sure that his involvement in it, he should go to.
You wonder, yeah, he probably.
We're gonna see if there's one nearby. We're gonna go to one.
Right. So they have listened to their.
So do
customers.
they do that with AI, Ted?
Yes, this is AI. So
That's
this-
really good.
Yeah, it can be done
It's
real,
excellent.
real easy with AI. So we'll see if you guys can tackle that. That's nice.
I bet he did. He do this? Did the Trump people do this, or somebody else?
I believe somebody else. Let's see.
Well, you got to send it to him. He's got to see this.
Yeah, we gotta make sure we send.
He'll
this to
love
him.
it.
He'll love it. He'll
Yeah, he'll love this one in particular.
Right.
Oh, he's not going to like the fact it makes him a little fat. He'll get. He's not that heavy.
No, he looks good.
That's closer. This could be pictures taken at a different time.
Look
But
at
they
it.
have I never saw him dance quite like that, but the other one was pretty darn good. We thank our guests for sharing your voices and love for Cracker Barrel. We said we would listen. Yeah, so today they were all complaining that they said they were going to listen, and they didn't. What they meant by listening was put the guy back. I guess a lot of people love this guy.
Right.
I mean, I think it's better with the guy. It's here. Look, it's rather austere. That's sort of boring.
It's boring.
Who? I have no idea who made these decisions. They get paid for this. They're like experts. But take a look at this.
Well, they want to debase the whole world.
That's like Cracker Barrel. Now look at that. That has personality to it, right?
Absolutely. Yes.
It has personality to it. Look at that. There.
Yeah.
I don't know. You and I, you're out there. We're not, we're not madmen advertising geniuses like they are. But I don't know if it's, sometimes geniuses are like the wrong people to be doing this stuff. Look. Isn't that better? But that guy's too middle American, I think, right?
Right.
He's definitely MAGA, that guy.
Yeah. Right. There's no.
I mean, you can tell right away. This is a Trump JD Vance voter.
He's hurt. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a JD voter too.
Yeah.
You can see that.
The,
Right?
the latter
Very,
is
very good chance, Mayor. That's a good point.
the latter is just sterile. That's what they like to do with
Yeah,
everything
I
these
mean,
days. They want to sterilize our society and have no.
Well, I think that the thing that made this go like crazy is it seemed like it was a disdain for the average American,
Right.
Yeah.
because that guy would represent sort of the average American worker, farmer in his case, right?
Yep.
I mean, I don't know. I should have really looked at the origin of Cracker Barrel and where it came from. But I want you guys to look up the closest Cracker Barrel here in New Hampshire.
Yeah. Well,
A lot of country stores here.
I'll take one for the team. I'll run over there, Mayor.
No, we're gonna go.
I'm gonna look right now where there might be
We're
one.
gonna go. If it's nearby, we'll go and take pictures. So this cashless bail thing, you got to know how corrupt Democrats are. Do you know this is also all about money? So cashless bail is supported by by federal grants in the various left-wing, criminal-loving states that have it. So the effect of cashless bail, I will tell you from the city I know best. I can tell you, I could testify under oath as an expert. There are about 7,000 to 9,000 additional criminals that are presently walking the streets of New York, or if they've gone someplace else, that would be in prison and therefore not able to rape, kill, steal, rob, throw people on subway, which they've done. If in fact you had actual bail and it was applied to, let's say, they didn't have this like. There's one guy named. He's the one who attacked Audrey Harkins, who today who's 94 years old, and she was attacked by this animal named Laren Mack. Who had, how old was Laren Mack? Let me see. Like in his 30s, 39 years old, right? So, no, that was Edwin Wright. Edwin Wright had 250 arrests at 39 years old. That doesn't count as juvenile record because they hide it. They hide his juvenile record. 250. How can you have 250 arrests? Laren Mack, who's another one, who would just beat up old people and they just let him out all the time because it wasn't serious enough. But if you do it 10 times, it starts, I mean, this is the whole thing about this. They rejected the whole idea of the career criminal program. So they'd have these people who do 10, 12, 15 break-ins. And every time they do a break-in, they'd let them out because they didn't qualify for bail. They let them out. Let them out. And then the numbers go up, but it isn't just numbers. The people's lives that are ruined.
What are they hoping after 1,000 times it's going to get better?
It also involved the killing in upstate New York of Kiara Benefield, who was killed by her ex-boyfriend, who was let out after he beat the hell out of her. That wasn't enough. Beating the hell out of her is not enough to have to incarcerate him as a danger to the community. So this is a very, very important thing that President Trump has done. And here's how the federal government can have some control over it. Believe it or not, most of this is being funded by you. And I am very, very outraged because there's one fund that I had something to do with creating, and also not only creating the fund itself, but creating the mechanism to get it to, and I benefited from it because I helped write the 1994 crime bill. The 1994 crime bill was actually written originally in 1984 or 85, and then kept getting changed. And you go right up to 1994, I was heavily involved in getting it passed. Have a letter from Bill Clinton thanking me for doing it. Went around the country with him, getting people to support it, because Clinton would take me and Mayor Reardon of Los Angeles to show that Republicans and Democrats supported this bill. This is the one that Biden has walked out on. And of course, it was applied, a lot of it was applied incorrectly. But the basic parts of the bill were enormously important in bringing crime down to record lows in the 1990s, only to go up under Obama and Biden to record highs. So there's a grant called the Edward Byrne JAG grant. It's named for police officer Edward Byrne, who was assassinated in 1988 when he was guarding a witness who was going to testify against a major drug organization, and they assassinated him. It became a very, very, I mean, sometimes a particular murder just jumps out, and it became a a major issue in 1988. It just so happened that his brother, his older brother, I believe, maybe younger, Larry, maybe been younger, worked for me. And his father, I got very close to. His father became very active in my campaign for mayor. And then his father was a very, very, and so was Larry, the son, who was a very good lawyer and continues to be. He's had quite a career as a lawyer. They got this passed to help reduce drug crime. So $103 million of that money was used last year in New York to run the supervised release program. And that's the program that makes it possible to put criminals back out on the street, because these are the people they're supposed to check in with. And they all get big salaries, and then they bring in not-for-profit organizations. I don't know how much of that $103 million is really spent on anything accountable. And nobody accounts, particularly when Biden gave away a lot more money than that to Ukraine, and nobody knew what the hell happened to it, even though he was bribed by Ukraine when he was vice president. It's all ridiculous.
This is how they fleece you.
Federal money created entire bureaucracies, not devoted to prosecuting crime, but to manage it in order to bypass the use of secured bail. Now, this was really nice because it gave a lot of jobs for big money to people, and then the people who ran the not-for-profits made fortunes. So you think this cashless bail thing, well, yeah. No, every city or every state that has it has a big infrastructure, and the federal government is contributing to it. $103 million in New York came from the federal government so we could put criminals back onto the street who belong in jail. And that is a perversion of the original purpose of the program, which was to incarcerate drug dealers. And that's what Eddie Burns was killed doing, prosecuting drug dealers. So they just perverted the whole purpose of what that program was for, which is the story of urban America under pathetic, corrupt, 150-year Democrat corruption.
Yeah, that's what they do. That's what they're best
And then
at.
it results in somebody like Audra Harkins. She was 94 years old. She was rushing to catch the E train. Imagine it, 94 or 90. When did this happen? So she was probably 92 then. Big difference, right? She was running to try to catch the E train in Lower Manhattan, when all of a sudden, for absolutely no reason other than the fact that he was a maniac with a rap sheet of 250 arrests, because he had done this in one way or another about 100 times before, but it wasn't serious enough to ever put him away for a long period of time. He bludgeoned her. He beat her. And Wright, who remained on the loose, had 5 prior arrests in the immediate past. I mean, 250 altogether, but including beating the hell out of a 15-year-old boy. And that didn't qualify for bail, beating the hell out of a 15-year-old boy or a 92-year-old woman, because of the law signed by Andrew Cuomo and passed by the insane left-wing, criminal-loving New York legislature, which is no different than the criminal-loving Democrats in Minnesota under Tampon Tim, or the ones in Philadelphia, or the ones in St. Louis, or the ones in Baltimore. It's unclear, they say, how this is going to hit New York. Well, how about you take the $150 million away? That's what they're going to do. They're going to take away federal funding from cities that are engaging in this practice of getting people killed. Hearing this, Jeff Riesig, who was an assistant district attorney in California and did a study in 2023 on cashless bail. He was like the lead in the study that concluded that the amount of recidivism, which wasn't addressed, had gone up like 70 or 80%. Now, I don't know exactly if that's correct, but what I can, I know New York City the best, but what I can tell you, that's about right in terms of the people in New York City that we would have incarcerated that are now walking around right now. That shouldn't be walking around. And the mayor, Adams, and the governor have been seeking to change it ineffectively for 4 years, and they can't change it because the legislature is so insanely in love with criminals because they're communists and they want to destroy America. Don't think that this is just by accident because they're a bunch of wacky Democrats, like, overgrown hippies or something. This is because behind all this,
Oh, yes.
is a determined mind. It's Karl Marx's that they're making relevant. At the same time, he passed an executive order, which basically directs the Justice Department and the U.S. attorneys to prosecute flag burning as a form of lower level incitement to riot, to be a 1-year penalty. That's what he said, and that's what's put out. I hope there are increases for people who are repeat offenders, but the 1 year is supposed to be an actually strict 1 year in jail, like we used to do with gun crime, which the Democrats changed, who supposedly are for gun control. I mean, you realize how phony that is, also, the whole gun control thing? They don't enforce the gun control laws that exist. If you do, you bring down crime like 70, 80%, like I did. Now, when they stopped it, it's gone back up. You arrest people who illegally possess guns. You don't try to stop legal people from having guns in a legal way. Just a word should activate your rational mind. Gun control. People who, and the more dangerous a criminal, the worse it is, are not controllable. There are a lot more serious laws than gun control laws that they don't comply with, like murder or rape or theft.
Yeah, how do you control the
They're going
uncontrollable?
to comply with a gun registration program. What, are you crazy? I mean, and then second, this is like a group. It's the same reason why they put us in tremendous debt. They live in some kind of stupid world that was created for them by the insane Marxist education they got, which is that somehow we're going to, by the passing of laws, we're going to control the distribution of about 2 to 250 million illegal guns that are in the United States right now. And they're going to be there no matter what law you pass. So if you restrict me or you from getting a gun, who would do it legally and do everything we could to possess it responsibly to protect ourselves and our family, there's no law you can pass that's going to stop determined criminals from getting a gun because there are just too many guns around. You're just not going to collect. You can do all the gun confiscation programs you want. As I said, there are 400 million guns in general. Might even be more than 200 to 250 million. And they're going to be there no matter what law you pass.
It can only damage the law-abiding citizens. That's the only one that can be damaged by it.
Yeah. Well, flag burning is another one that it's outrageous that we allow people to burn our flag without consequences. It's not just a piece of material. I mean, there are certain things that hold a country together. I mean, a nation and a nation's civilization and culture is very delicate. It's been destroyed by communists and Nazis and dictators, for thousands of years. One of the things is the flag that you hold up, so that you're all. And for America, it's really important because we're not one group. We're not Italian. We're not French. We're not German. We're not Japanese. We're not Chinese. We don't have a common ethnic identity. We don't have a common, like the Muslim countries, which I hesitate to even mention because of the violence that's within their religion that has to be rejected and isn't effectively. But even Muslims have a common bond in being Muslim. We don't as Americans. We come from all over, right? But we have a more important common bond if it's respected, and that is an agreement on basic principles, which I mean has been described by our founding fathers and other geniuses who analyze who and what we are as our civic religion, and that is belief in the basics of freedom. We call it democracy, but it isn't. It really is freedom and law. We're a country that is really a republic rather than a democracy. But we've incorporated in the definition of democracy these basic rights that we have. And we're really not a democracy. A democracy can vote to take your rights away. Russia is a democracy. Well, maybe. But I mean, they elected Joseph Stalin. Germany elected Adolf Hitler, probably legitimately. But they didn't have any basic protections for the essential rights that people have. That was the genius of our country, that people have basic rights that are beyond the authority of the government.
Guardrails.
Yeah, basic rights that come from God. Now, you might not like that, but that's the way it was created. So burning our flag is enormously important to require people to respect the few things that tie us together: the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, our laws, our national anthem, and our flag, and our veterans, and the symbols of our history and patriotism. Because yes, America did some bad things, but much less than any other country. And it's done great things unlike any other country. And it's a country that is constantly engaged in correcting itself. We're creating a more perfect union.
It's been responsive to the imperfections.
Yes. I mean, whenever they obsessively concern themselves with slavery, like at the Smithsonian, they have a big interactive display where you can press a button and you can find out how many slaves the first 20 presidents owned. Why don't we have a display to point out how many white men died to free black men?
Now you're talking.
That'd be about 300,000. That's pretty unusual. Way back in 1850 and 1860, to have a bunch of people that are willing to give their lives in order to free people that supposedly were slaves. I don't know if any other country did that. Other countries, over a period of time, got rid of slavery. The Muslim countries took another 100 years to get rid of slavery. The Muslim slave traffic was way bigger and went on for a much longer time than America. But look at all the blacks that became black Muslims, without thinking about the fact that the Muslims are much more engaged in the slave trade than Christians. What about the Indian tribes that kept slaves? How are we going to penalize them? We could take money from their casinos? I mean, the whole thing is ridiculous. And I don't object to the fact that we got to be brutally honest about our history. But brutally honest means the good and the bad. And there's a reason why all these people are coming here, because the good outweighs the bad here more than any other place on earth. That's why we have the immigration issues, good and bad. Nobody's knocking down the door of any place else to come in.
Yeah, when you opened the border, you didn't see the people running the other way.
Yeah.
They were running in, not out.
So I'm going to show you in a minute here what a guy who takes people's lives by selling massive amounts of drugs looks like. Look at that shit. That guy is Ismail Zambada. He was the partner of, well, his name is El Mayo. His actual name is Ismail Zambada, and along with El Chapo and El Chapo's brother, the three of them were the founders of the Sinaloa cartel, which I think is the predominant or the largest or most powerful of the Mexican cartels, of which there are 5 or 6 major ones, and then about 20 small ones. But the Sinaloa, El Golfo, there are 3 or 4. I mean, the Sinaloa cartel existed way back in the early days when I was a prosecutor, and I prosecuted some of their members. That shit became a billionaire from it. But look at him. Look what a disgusting looking slob he is. You can't imagine how many people he killed, how many lives he ruined so that he could live an unbelievable life, like he was that piece of crap was a prince or something. Well, he pled guilty, and it has a mandatory life sentence. A lot of people are upset that he wasn't executed. Because he actually admitted to ordering the killing of dozens and dozens of people. But I mean, the reality is he wouldn't have gotten a plea out of him. He would have to have prosecuted him. It would take forever to prosecute him. He'd be on appeal. I mean, and the guy, unless we get some crazy Democrat president who might, I mean, who knows? Biden, auto pen might have pardoned him, right? I mean, the auto pen was doing it on its own. Did you ever see a pen go? I mean, he rapists, child molesters. I don't think he had any idea who the hell he pardoned. They should all be thrown out.
Where are we on that?
They should all be thrown out.
Per usual, we get a lot of noise from Congress.
The Constitution of the United States says the president can pardon you, not an auto pen. There's got to be an operation of the mind in order to do a pardon. You got to understand the whole history of a pardon. A pardon is a deliberate decision to forgive someone of their sins. It's like confession. When I say that, that's where it came from. The pardon power, it goes back to early English law. They were Roman Catholics, and they gave it to the king very similar to a priest giving confession. And therefore, the king had to know what he was pardoning and had to make a deliberate operation of his mind that you now have become a good person. How do you do that? An auto pen, it isn't even AI. I mean, an auto pen can't do it. It's just part of the incredible corruption, the stinking, putrid corruption of the Biden administration. And if we don't hold people accountable for it, we're going to do it again. This isn't a matter, I mean, this isn't a matter of revenge. It's a matter of not just even justice, of deterrence.
Survival of the species.
Punishment in criminal law, again, that comes from England, has 2 purposes. One is justice, and the other is deterrence, to teach society lessons. I am absolutely convinced that if we had prosecuted Comey and the other people in the FBI right after Trump came into office for their lying on FISA court applications and other things, we would have avoided a lot of the problems that occurred after that.
I think you're 100% right.
Because you would have put the fear of God into them.
That's right.
And it doesn't, deterrence doesn't eliminate all crime, but cuts it down big time.
That's exactly why they didn't do it.
And among the more sophisticated criminals, it works even better because they do calculated crimes.
Yeah.
They calculate the risk of being caught, the risk of being punished. And the Democrats were, basically just had a pass to do anything they wanted.
Yeah.
And it's like this Kilmar Abrego Garcia. And here he is with his poor wife who's holding his hand. He beat the shit out of her. And we know that because we have her tape recordings. We also know that Chandragua will kill her if she doesn't stand there and hold his hand. This is the guy who came into this country illegally. He is a believed to be, and again, these people, we're throwing them out of the United States. We're not necessarily putting them in jail. If you have information, even if it doesn't arise to the kind of evidence you could convict someone of a crime, that a person is a danger, then you should throw them out of the United States. They don't have a right to be here. This son of a crap doesn't have a right to be here. And then he got caught. This is the guy that got caught with 9 people in the car. All of them, none of them could speak English. He can't speak English. You know what his dumb lawyers said? This is the night for really dumb lawyers, which I get really annoyed about because the Crooked Bar Association of New York and their crooked attorney, whose name I don't even remember. I'd love to put his picture up and his name. They were a piece of crap. His stupid you can't send him to Uganda because he doesn't speak the language. Sure, he doesn't speak the language. You know what the prevailing language in Uganda is? English. Well, of course he doesn't speak English, which is why he shouldn't go to Uganda and he shouldn't go to the U.S. They should, put him on an island in the ocean. And then he can see if he can beat up the animals. Maybe the animals will beat him up. In 2022, he was stopped in Tennessee where he had 8 passengers in the car. There was no luggage. And he was part of the human trafficking ring of Transnicaragua, which is and by the way, he can't go back to Venezuela because a rival gang will kill him. Well, first of all, that's not a basis for asylum or refugee status. It's got to be the government that's going to do it to you. The fact that you're an organized criminal and some other organized crime group is going to kill you is not a basis for political asylum. Well, we're going to give asylum to people who are involved in organized crime vendettas?
Yeah.
This is totally ridiculous if you analyze it. And the judges, the latest one is an Obama judge, of course. I mean, these Obama and Biden judges are completely corrupt. And this is the one where Senator Van Hoofel went down to El Salvador to get him out of. And you notice he hasn't shown up. He's not showing up now that it came out that the guy beat the crap out of his wife and was involved in human trafficking. And his lawyer, let's get the name of his lawyer so that he can get the appropriate attention. His lawyer announced that you can't send him to Uganda because he doesn't speak the language. Well, he was technically correct. He doesn't speak English, which is the reason we shouldn't send him here.
And so what the hell is he doing here?
Is that the plane he came in? Is that what we're showing, Ted? Is there a reason we're showing that plane? I'd like to get. You want to get it for me? I'd like to have that plane. That was the plane that. Oh, good. I wish we had that. We could come and visit you. I'd love to be able to take the show around to different places and do it.
This is Kilmar Garcia. He was talking about how he was so mistreated.
He was U.S. District Judge Paula Zinnes obviously is in love with.
This is him coming back, I think.
She's given him the opportunity to stay here, just so maybe he can, get a couple more wife beatings in or human trafficking. The Spanish-speaking migrant who entered the U.S. illegally was also blasted with requiring a translator to share his message. I don't think, if you told me 20 years ago, just picking 20 years, I'd have to think a little more carefully about when, but let's say 20 years ago, that we would be doing, I tell you, you're crazy. You're crazy that a federal judge, I was a law clerk to a federal, I had great respect for federal judges. Boy, that's gone. That a federal judge will let a guy like this out. I'd say, yeah, right. Maybe some crooked New York judge, but not a federal judge.
Yeah, maybe in Russia.
No, I always thought there was a big difference between the local judges and the federal judges. I mean, because New York has been afflicted with a crooked judiciary for most of its history. I mean, well, certainly most of its history as an American colony, the Democrat Party under Boss Tweed goes back to about 1840. And it's been continuously corrupt since then.
But even so, they kept themselves from being complete pigs? Is that what it is?
Well, they are complete pigs. They are complete pigs. They have no. So his wife accused him of beating her on several occasions. And then, she denied it, but then they came up with the tapes of him beating her. I mean, yeah, we take wife beaters, human traffickers, and the guy's worse than that. I mean, he's a fairly high-level member of Trinidad. And don't get confused if he looks like a big jackass, because they all do. They all look like pieces of crap, the Trinidad people. I haven't seen one that looks like it's not like the mafia or the more sophisticated organized crime groups where they try to clean up and fool you. These guys don't bother to fool you, they just kill you. Trump apparently still is trying to put together a meeting between Zelensky and Putin, and he's still pushing for it. I don't know. I think he's eventually, Putin theoretically has got about one more week before Trump initiates enormously stringent penalties against him. And I don't understand the delay, because people are dying while we delay. I mean, every day they kill 3 or 4 more people in Ukraine. And Putin is trying very, very, very hard. People in Ukraine people in Ukraine are trying very, very hard, to stay alive, because theoretically we're near the end, but that doesn't help if they blow up your building. And a lot of people die at the end of a war. Now, I don't know if people properly appreciate how what we could do to Russia through our massive economy could be as devastating as what we could do militarily. Right now, Russia has a serious shortage of oil. And the price of gasoline this year alone is up 45% in Russia. In 2 parts of Russia, Crimea, which is Russia now, right? It's the southern part, the island in the southern part of Ukraine. And then all the way up in Siberia, which is half the world, they have to ration gasoline. And they got to be careful all over Russia. Now, this is an oil abundant country, but it can't sell it. And even the people who are buying oil from them, like China, are paying a ridiculously, I mean, China's not doing this as a charity. China's paying nothing for the oil. Same thing with India. So you apply more pressure to him, you're going to crush him. You're going to crush him. I do not believe that the Russian people are in love with this war. There's no purpose to this war with Ukraine except his insanity of wanting to recreate the Russian Empire because he thinks he's Peter the Great. There was no reason to kill all these people in Ukraine. Well, now, if you look at the obstacles that he's put in the way, there's no way that Ukraine can give up Donetsk. They can't do it. They can't give it up. They can't give it up because right there, they built what they call a fortress belt. They've done it over 8 years, and it goes right across the, maybe about 20 miles before the actual border of Donetsk, and down into Zaporizhia, and maybe a little bit into Kherson. And it's an impregnable defense line that they've built, like the fence that we were supposed to build, but also armed. And we know it's effective because Russia has tried everything to break it and has probably have lost a disproportionate number of their troops there than any place else in Ukraine. And their losses, which are hard to really evaluate because you never know how accurate they are, but they're easily 2 to 3 times more than Ukraine. A disproportionate number occurred right there. So Ukraine is very, very confident that no matter what guarantees they get for security, this will help protect them going forward. They give this away, they theoretically give away the rest of the country because this defense will be gone. And then without maybe boring you too much, but you should realize that Donetsk is 200, it's about 30 times higher than the terrain going into and leading toward Kiev, which means like the Golan Heights in Israel, you can shoot down from it. So if you possess, and that's one of the reasons why it's a great defense location for them. But if Russia takes that, their ability to invade and take maybe another half of Ukraine becomes much easier. So in their peace agreement, they'll be given away, they know, because they know that Putin's lying. And they know he's announced that he wants to take all of Ukraine. So they're going to make it much easier for him to do that after they fought this war for, 2.5 years or 3 years, very valiantly. And I hope we don't sell them out. I mean, I really don't. And there's nobody that understands exactly how compromised Zelensky is than me. But I also understand that he's not Putin. He's a bad guy, but he's not Putin. Putin's different. Putin is an evil guy. He's a mass murderer. Yeah, well, that's really stupid. I don't like that at all. I don't like fooling around about dictators. We fooled around about Hitler, and look what happened to us. We shouldn't be fooling around about Putin. Eventually, our liberty is at stake. And, one of the things that happens if you like to think of yourself as an isolationist or an interventionist is you become tied to that thinking and you become extremist. And there is no such thing as an isolationist or an interventionist in protecting a country. You've got to get involved in the things you have to get involved in to protect yourself, and you stay out of the things you stay out of. But there's no one rule. We're going to stay out of everything. Stay out of everything, and this country will be gone in 20 years. China will take over. They're dying to. I mean, you just go. I mean, it's really insane. We keep making the same problem. Hitler told us what he was going to do, and we ignored it. Stalin told us what he was going to do, and we gave him half of Europe. Bin Laden told us what he was going to do, and Clinton didn't do anything except bomb empty fields. I can go on and on. And Putin tells us what he wants to do. And China tells us what they want to do. And we ignore it? I don't think so. So I really think it is absolutely necessary that we give Putin a sense of reality. He's not going to get the defensive positions in Donetsk. Too many people died, and it's too necessary to the security of Ukraine, and no agreement can be trusted. I mean, they have an agreement with the United States and with Russia and with the UK to defend them if anyone tries to take their land away in exchange for having given up the nuclear weapons. That's not worth the paper it's written on, because the idea of honoring agreements doesn't exist anymore. So how are they going to trust any agreement that's signed if what they need is actual physical structures and weapons to protect themselves? If they're going to go on from this and at least, maybe you've got to make the decision to let Russia keep, hopefully not all of what they took, but some of it, but to give them more, particularly if that more is critical to the defense of your country, just makes no sense. You might as well keep fighting. I mean, the reality is, yes, Russia is much bigger than Ukraine, and Russia could wear them down, but Russia could go broke too. I mean, the last time they were all starving, they overthrew the government or the czar earlier. I don't think Putin has that kind of control over them, that they're going to all starve to death for him.
Is Russia's
He's just not that nice. He's just not that nice a guy.
Is Russia's oil problem directly related with pressure from the United States, or is it just a systemic problem that they're dealing with regardless of the United States?
I don't know what you mean by that.
You mentioned that they were having problems.
They are a very, very weak economy. They're a one-horse pony.
They're running out of oil.
They have one product, oil.
Right, and it's becoming.
They're not running out of it. They got plenty of it. But if nobody buys it from them, what good is it if they have it?
So that's actually has nothing to do with the United States. That's just a problem that they have.
Well, it does have to do with we're squeezing them.
Oh, we're squeezing them. Okay, that's what I wanted to know.
We're the ones that are making it impossible for them to sell their oil because we're putting sanctions on them. Now we could really completely destroy them by putting sanctions on everybody who behind our backs is doing business with them.
Okay,
now we did do that with for other reasons with India, because we put a massive tariff on India, and India has stopped buying from them. Now maybe that's the reason why the price of gasoline is up 45%, and they're starting to ration gasoline and oil.
Maybe that's part of the Trump strategy right now, just to wait.
But the idea of, I mean, they have a vulnerability that is much more obvious and easy to utilize than China or the United States. I mean, China is a much weaker economy than we are, but it's a diverse economy. And by doing one thing, you're not going to crush them. But Russia is a much easier economy to destroy.
That has to be part of the strategy, I would think.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if that's right. I don't see any evidence that that's part of the strategy. I just think we've been too tolerant with Putin, and it's very bad thing to do with him, because he'll take advantage. There's only one way to deal with a bully and a dictator, and that's to punch him in the mouth constantly. Just keep punching them. They'll start crying.
That's where the rubber meets the road, as they say. Yeah.
So Israel is being criticized tremendously for killing the journalists in Gaza, and also for attacking this Nasser hospital. So 20 people were killed, and about 5 or 6 journalists. And the journalists work for, the guy that they killed originally, who everybody's defending, but he was an actual terrorist who was part of organizing October 7. But these people work for these enormously respected people that got killed in the attack the other day, work for these very respected organizations like the Associated Press. Reuters, and of course Al Jazeera, that's not as enormously respected, but they're no better. Associated Press and Reuters has enabled and aided and abetted terrorism for 20 years with their dishonest, crooked reporting on terrorism. And I don't know if all of these people that died were terrorists, but I got to tell you, a bunch of them were, because they don't allow journalists in Gaza that aren't. When I say terrorists, I don't mean they sympathize with them in writing. I mean they sympathize with them in killing people. So the people that died, one of them was a photographer for Al Jazeera named Mohammed Salama. Was he cooperating with Hamas? I don't think they'd let him in there taking pictures if he wasn't. Another one worked for Reuters, another cameraman named Hossam Al-Masri. And then another contractor who was working for them, Hatim Khalid. And then Moaz Abu Taha was a freelance journalist who was getting paid by Reuters. He was like a contractor with Reuters. But the fact that he's with Reuters is supposed to impress me? I don't think I've read, half of what I read in Reuters is completely dishonest. Associated Press is even worse. And Al Jazeera, I don't know if Al Jazeera is worse than Associated Press. So these journalists who were killed, any number of them were cooperating with Hamas. And they wouldn't be there if they weren't cooperating with Hamas. And it's impossible when you're trying to clean out a place that has people that want to destroy you and end your existence. It's impossible not to have collateral damage. And the whole idea of concentrating and making this like an enormous issue. If you look at the number of civilians, even the exaggerated number, and why would we trust Hamas on the number of civilians that were killed? We can't trust them on anything else. Why would they be telling the truth about that? How many of them are they killing and putting in the number? They're killing they're killing as many of the Palestinians as they can that are demonstrating against them. Those are civilians. You think they attribute that to themselves? It's absolutely ridiculous how we give the benefit of the doubt to terrorist murderers, perverted, insane terrorist murderers, and not to a democracy that is run by the rule of law. Yes, it makes mistakes, but it's also under enormous pressure of being eliminated, both the democracy itself and the people called the Jewish people. Charlie Kushner, who I know for many, many years, and I consider a very, very good friend. He's the ambassador to France, very, very courageously, as a very proud Jew, not a turncoat like miserable, slimy Schumer, wrote a letter to the French government, particularly to President Macron, saying that his embrace of a Palestinian state, which would be a terrorist state, by the way, is going to just make the problem of anti-Semitism in France, which is already unacceptable, and it is, and has been for quite some time, worse. The French government got all insulted, and they called him in. You know, you call an ambassador in to go like this. And Charlie sent somebody from the staff, basically to show no particular respect for them. Exactly right. I have no respect for Macron. What is this? He's going to recognize a terrorist state? Why? Because he's got so many Muslims in his country, they'll kill him? I mean, they're going to take over England and France. UK is about ready to fall. I mean, they got biggest number of kids last year. The name was Mohammed. Used to be Ian. Now it's Mohammed. I can't believe it. I mean,
Mo for short. Mo.
Yeah, Mo. I mean, that would be in Israel, Mo. The State Department has said that it fully stands behind Charlie. But Charlie, my friend, don't count on it. A lot of anti-Semites in the State Department. They've known for it, right? A lot of Jew haters in the State Department, believe me, and America haters too. Oh, and they're all geniuses too. You think what a horrible job they've done over the last 30 to 40 years. Even going back to the Second World War, giving up Eastern Europe. Why the hell we'd be deferential to them is like crazy.
Well, they've done a good job for their purposes.
Yeah, they have, delivering America on the road to communism. So House education panel, I don't know exactly what that is, House of Representatives education panel, but they're investigating 3 particular schools, medical schools for anti-Semitism. UCLA Medical School, the University of Illinois College of Medicine, and what's the third one here? Let's see, on the honor list here. The University of California, it's both the Los Angeles Medical School and the San Francisco Medical School. And at UCLA, one of the problems is UCLA had a mandatory seminar. If this was for the medical school, this is absolutely insane, called Structural Racism and Health Equity. And it included description of Jews as oppressors and images of capitalists with hooked noses, who were then identified as Jews. Probably they had pictures of Muhammad, killing the Jews at the olive oil plantation and being the first one to do a mass grave that we know of for Jewish people, eventually copied by the Nazis. I mean, this is a hatred we got to root it out. It's like cancer. It's not acceptable in 21st century. Sorry, it's just not acceptable. And you shouldn't get any money from the federal government if you promote it. I mean, they don't just sit by and watch it. These schools promote it. Well, China now is thinking of they're going to ban or they're thinking of banning or putting heavy tariffs on the major products of NVIDIA. Now, with nobody watching for the last 2 or 3 years, a couple of years ago, the real worry was Huawei, which is their major AI company and their major computer company and their major GPU company, was going to just beat out everyone. And NVIDIA has really gone way ahead of them. And China, now I'm not an expert on this. The problem for China is they don't know how to integrate these massive GPU units that's used for macro computing. They don't know how to integrate it with the software that makes it work 4 and 5 times faster. And NVIDIA does. And it has a whole suite that you have to have. And it's an American company. And China can't figure out what to do with them. And it's called, now, not that I know what this is, it's called CUDA program, CUDA. It's a collection of massive software libraries that makes the AI hardware work 100 times faster. And they don't know how to develop it. So China wants to put major tariffs on it, or does it? We're not sure we want to do business with China and give some of this to them, because they can reproduce the hardware.
Reverse engineer.
Yeah, they can reverse engineer it. But here's the issue. if we give it to them, they become dependent on us, and we're not dependent on them. And will they be able to reverse engineer it? It's a very, very complicated issue. But thank God we have an administration like the Trump administration that will think its way through it and isn't afflicted by a president who knows how many others got millions and millions of dollars from China. And this is one of the ways to defeat them. The technological war is the one that has to be won, not the military hardware, fine. But the AI is much more important because it can undermine all the military hardware. And we were ahead, but they were catching us. And I think from the day that Trump got into office, he's been dead set on pushing us further and further ahead, starting with the deal with the deal with Taiwan for the major chips. So if this is an article and a recommendation from Aaron Ginn, who's the CEO and co-founder of Hydra Host, which is an AI data center services, and that is a partner with NVIDIA. In other words, it's one of those software that becomes critical to making the hardware work 100 times faster, which is the key to this. But who's ahead? I mean, eventually it's gonna work more than the speed of light. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And the recommendation of Mr. Ginn, which should be taken into consideration, because your first reaction to this is we shouldn't give it to them because they'll, as Rob says, they'll reverse engineer it. The other side of it is the minute you give it to them, they become dependent on your system, which was the worry with Hawaii that that everybody be dependent on. Now, where European countries and others are much more inclined to go with not just NVIDIA, but with their whole suite of software solutions. And if that happens, then we control it, and just have to keep going into another generation and stay ahead of them. The advantage that we have, even now, with the decrease in our educational level and everything else, is we're a much more creative and inventive society than they are. And of course, there's a reason for that. It's not necessarily that we're smarter, or in many ways they're smarter, but they live in a very, very very narrow educational. I don't just mean academic education. I mean education from the home, and they live in a very narrow box because they don't have freedom. If you don't have freedom, you don't have freedom of thought.
The broad-based freedom that we get to enjoy.
Communist countries have never created a damn thing. And socialist countries don't create a damn thing. It's the freedom of competition that unleashes the creative power of the mind.
Absolutely.
It's the combination of the desire for wealth and the desire and altruism. You put those two together, and you give people freedom, and then the mind is released to do the kinds of inventions that we've done in Western civilization.
That might be the biggest lesson we learned out of Americanism.
Yeah,
biggest lesson.
And although these societies, many of these societies in the past, in ancient world, were very, very creative, becoming dictatorships has ruined them. The communists for one, and the Muslims for the other, because Sharia law is just as restrictive, if not more, than communism.
Oh my God, how true that is. Yep.
You think that those are societies in which people can think freely? When if a woman has her hair out, they're gonna kill you. They're gonna kill her.
Right.
You think a society like that's gonna stay way ahead in creative sciences? Of course not.
Right.
They that's been taken away from them.
They're being psychologically abused, basically.
Yeah.
And no wonder they're non-creative.
So there is a concern that President Trump is investing too much in private business, and that they're saying he's a socialist. It's totally ridiculous. He's not taking over the means of production like Mandami advocates. He's making 10 and 20% investments in order to create more wealth for the government. And if we don't, we're going to also be beaten by China. China has two massive sovereign wealth funds that create money for them without them having to do much work for it. Now, we need that if we're going to compete. So 10% of Intel, 15% of Intel. Doesn't mean you control it. Or you're not run as a government. The government's just another investor. But that can mean trillions of dollars.
Right.
Now, I don't say it can solve our debt, but can help without necessarily destroying our society with taxation. And it's a heck of a different thing than socialism. And Daniel McCarthy, who I think is one of the best writers around, makes that point in the Post either yesterday or today. I don't remember when this column was written, but he makes that point really, really well. I'm not necessarily a big fan of Chancellor Merz of Germany. I thought he was kind of insulting at the meeting of the world leaders when he talked about, we should go back to a ceasefire. And I mean, he's not there on the firing line, and nor has he or Germany done anything to try to solve this war. So before you start criticizing, okay. On the other hand, the fact that they have stepped up to devote 5% of their GDP to defense with NATO, the fact that they are willing, I believe they're willing, or is it just France and the UK, to supply troops as a security arrangement for Ukraine, and also, and this they are doing, buy weapons from us to give to Ukraine, which, solves a problem. I mean, people don't realize that what Trump has done with that is he solved a problem for them. The American people were getting very, very upset about giving all this money to Ukraine. I mean, some were very much in favor of it, and some were very much against it. And if the tide really swung the other way, it would be politically impossible to help support the security of Ukraine. So to set up the investment in the rare minerals in Ukraine, which aside from economics, we need for national security purposes to remain competitive with China and stay ahead of them, but to also set up an economic interest of America in Ukraine helps in bringing the American people over to a very strong support for keeping Ukraine free, when in fact that had been dwindling. The attitude is becoming more and more, why are we wasting all this money? Or why are we involved in whether Ukraine is free or not? There are a lot of reasons why we should be involved and why Ukraine is free or not. But if there aren't some very practical things to make that point to you, you can lose it. And Trump has, whether they know it or not, he's created that for them. And this sovereign wealth fund is the same thing. It gives us a chance, first of all, to create great wealth for the government through something other than taking it out of our pockets of our people. And number two, it puts us in areas that are very, very vital to our national defense, like we have to be independent of China. We're dependent. We have become dependent on China for too much, both in the security area and the pharmaceutical area. By the government making investments and moving along those industries that are vital, like NVIDIA is, as we're describing with new age computing. That's very, very important. And it's being used very, very effectively by economies and societies that are very capitalistic, like Saudi Arabia, like Singapore. Those sovereign wealth funds are gigantic, like the Emirates and Qatar. And now Merz, I was going to point out, gave a speech the other day, which I really was surprised at. And it's very encouraging that it's coming from Europe. I'd like to hear it coming from France, really, because they're the worst offenders. And that is that the level of welfare spending, which includes all of the no, don't work and get paid programs, has become unsustainable, and it's going to destroy the economy of Europe and their ability to defend themselves. Because I think the thing that creates this is the fact that they have decided to double or maybe triple their defense spending, which means they're going to have to reduce their welfare spending. They had become too much of a society that basically thought that the U.S. could take care of all that for them, and nobody had to work. And to see Germany do that was really incredible. I mean, Merkel has to be like the worst chancellor in the history of Germany. I mean, Germany was the most productive country in Europe 30 years ago, and now its productivity level arguably is equal or less than France. And Italy is ahead of them. That's like a reversal in one generation. And Merz, of course, is a conservative, and I think he wants to turn that around. So, and Germany still, I think it's probably the leader in Europe, particularly with the UK now being sort of kind of part of Europe, but still not, because they left the EU. And France is just not strong enough and reliable enough to be a leader. So we did point out Cracker Barrel, right, at the beginning of the show. We did. Okay. But now I gotta raise the following question. Should New York have driverless cars, New York City?
I mean, I hate my answer here, but yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but Mayor, yeah, I think
my
people
God,
are more
I don't
curious.
want to see them driving around. It's bad enough we have drivers.
People are more curious with your thoughts on the matter. What do you think? People are probably more curious on your answer to that question than mine.
Yeah, I think it's ridiculous in New York. It's too densely populated with cars, and they're banging into each other.
But isn't that
New York's Manhattan can be bumper cars. Now it is the taxis and the cars for hire that create about half the accidents.
Well, isn't that an argument for?
That's the argument.
Driverless cars?
Human error. It takes human error out of the equation.
No, it doesn't.
Look,
the machine has to be programmed
By humans,
if you don't,
well.
by human beings.
But I think it goes beyond
Computers
that.
don't take human error out of anything.
I think they're using mathematics and laws of physics and trajectory and speed
How often
and
does
velocity.
a computer stop working?
Oh gosh.
About
We
3 times a
could be
day.
a testament to that.
Now that happens with a car, and it goes.
Or us?
It happens with a car, and it goes into Macy's window.
Right. So I think the idea is that
I agree
this is
with
done
that.
at a time when it's
computers break down all the time.
Right,
the best
Mayor.
ones.
But even I got it when we're back down in Florida. You got to join me. I got a couple friends down there with totally autonomous Teslas. I've driven with them. Maybe it was
What do you mean?
Fort
totally
Lauderdale.
autonomous? You mean
You
they
get
put
in
it on
the front-
automatic pilot?
From the moment I get in the car with them
It's driverless.
in, let's say, Fort Lauderdale, until the moment we get out of the car in Miami, they put the car. We sit there. They don't touch the wheel.
Well,
All
what
right.
happens
To
if
be
the car
fair, I
cuts
think they
them
did.
off? Does it react? Does it react?
It
to
does. Now, here's the question. We didn't have any moment where a car, where a human driver did something out of the ordinary, right? So that's a good point. What if someone else makes a mistake, like that illegal who turned his truck into an that U-turn that killed 3 people?
I'd like to see it.
I'd like you to join. We could do it,
I'd like
man.
to see it used in less populated places for a while.
I think that's what's happening.
And be sure that it's foolproof before you put it in the most densely populated part of America. I mean,
Right.
and that would be New York, Manhattan.
They will build the redundancy into those
Right.
systems.
And-
It's
Yeah, that's why we haven't seen it. yet, right?
There's
I think
not
it
a
does
thing
take
that's
time.
built that they can't break down, including computers, including AI. Or
Mayor, I'm sure.
now, would
this-
it break down less than human beings do? Maybe.
did they have the same argument with horseless carriages back in the turn of the century in Manhattan, right?
I don't remember. I mean, I don't
Cars,
remember.
automobiles,
I
right?
was
Yeah.
alive, but I don't
No,
remember.
no, you were not alive, obviously, but right. I wonder. This is just, and I don't like it either. I love driving.
But a horseless carriage had a human being operating.
That's right. But at the time, I can only imagine the debate potentially, right?
Yeah, I would imagine, but logically, it's not the same problem. I mean, yeah, it's the same person that was operating the carriage with a horse is operating the horseless carriage. Same person. It's the same human being operating.
Yeah.
Doug Barry in our chat tells us that in Nevada, a lot of people are getting stranded in their electric vehicles out in the desert.
Oh, wow.
Can you
Yeah,
imagine?
that's great. Maybe on purpose.
Yeah.
Well, that could be a human error. You got to calculate.
Second thing is,
People can forget to put
when you
gas in their car
consider the
too, or they can't
capacity-
afford it. They're running out of gas.
wait a
too.
second. If you consider the capacity for hacking, there's another real danger.
But even the petrol cars their systems are relying on the same technologies as the electric cars for navigational purposes. and
Yeah, but you can't hack a regular electric car, but you can't hack even maybe an electric car and make it go in the wrong direction.
Right.
I mean, you can maybe make it break down.
The question is this if this is in fact the future, and
it is.
then don't we want to embrace it? And
Yeah, but let's embrace it intelligently and let's use it. Let's start with isolated places and use it.
The only argument I could make
And
for
let's number one, make sure it's safe, and number two, get the kinks out of it.
but the
I
argument
agree with that.
The argument for the inner cities would be that the cars very rarely exceed 15 or 20 miles an hour anyway, so there's less
That's
velocity
absolutely true, but
involved.
there are pedestrians.
The pedestrians, that could
There are
be the
pedestrians
problem.
in
New York,
in a city like New York,
They
I
walk
mean,
when they walk.
pedestrians jaywalk all the time. I mean,
That could very well.
The idea that you're going to have a pedestrian in the legitimate crosswalk is like totally ridiculous in New York.
And look,
I know I tried to change jaywalking, and they caught me doing it myself.
I've
Because I didn't even know I was doing it. I mean, I just here I am saying you got to cross in the crosswalk, and I'm walking in the middle of the street.
It is easier.
Because I just do. I mean, I'm. It's like a sickness. I just do it.
But with all the one ways,
I've been doing it since I was 2 years old.
you could argue it's safer and easier in a place like New York because of all the one ways. So when you're walking up and down, the avenues, you got to look one way. And if there's no cars coming and it's a red, what are you going to waste 30 seconds standing there like a bum? Right.
Oh,
and
yeah,
it's
but
easier
you
when
see
you're looking
people,
one
they
way.
walk in and out of traffic. The ones that really get me are the ones with the baby carriages.
Oh, yes. I hate
And they're
that.
in the middle of a block, and the
Yeah.
car's going this way and the
Yeah.
car's going that way. And
Right.
that's why I tried to change it. I mean, I have been very successful with drunk driving by taking their cars away.
Oh, yeah. I would take
Nobody. That was Howard Safer and I did that. Man, they went crazy when I did that. If you were caught drunk driving, we confiscated the car,
Nice.
and you had to come back and get it after a couple. And it really worked with kids.
You're
You
doing
should-
everyone a
You
favor.
should see all the parents that had to come in and get cars.
You're doing everyone a favor with that one.
What?
You're doing everybody a favor
We
with
did the
that
same
one.
thing with drug dealing.
Yeah. But
If
drunk driving.
we used to have a drive-in drug centers in Washington Heights, the Lower East Side. So Howard Safer and I developed a program. They think I reduced crime by waving a magic wand. I did it because of calculation and brain power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Programs
what
that
we
work.
did was
Sure.
I had myself bought drugs in Washington Heights as an undercover. And what we did was we set up a trap. So people would come in from New Jersey in particular, usually on Thursdays and Fridays to get their supply of drugs for the weekend.
It wasn't me.
Because it was near the George Washington Bridge.
Yeah.
Or they'd even come up from Baltimore and come over. And then they'd line up on, let's say, 150th Street, 152nd Street.
They're making a
153rd
killing
Street.
probably.
And there'd be apartments then there. And the drug dealers would have one of the lower floor of the apartment. And it was like buying lunch in McDonald's.
Yeah.
You'd go up, you tell the guy what you wanted. And then he'd come back with usually crack. They were selling crack that way in those days. And so here's what we did. There I am. That's when I went. I was the head of the parole board.
Where is it? Let me see.
There should be Al D'Amato there.
Oh, there you are. Yeah.
Where is he? Senator D'Amato should be there.
Agents out there, if their faces were shown, they are going out tonight working undercover again. It could cost any of them their lives. So we would ask, please, that you use. Okay, today, in order to demonstrate the issue of crack in New York and the potential for it becoming a new national problem, the gentleman at the table accompanied DEA undercover agents to certain areas of New York to show what the crack scene was like. I will introduce them now, and they will take over. The gentleman on the far left is Chief Frank Hall, who's chief of the Narcotics Bureau for the New York City Police Department. The gentleman to the next.
Who are purchasing, and so they come with their own firepower. But no.
Can we hold the rest of the questions to Mr. Giuliani?
Can I just one, because I was running late, just go to Senator while he's up here.
We'll get back up. I think it only.
Oh, that's D'Amato.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
No.
Look how young.
This is really a terrible,
look at that
terrible
strapping
problem, and
gentleman.
I don't think there is anything that could be said that would exaggerate more for the public the level of the problem that we're dealing with. The drug problem before a year ago and before the emergence of crack was at an emergency level. More and more cocaine, more and more people using cocaine, and now with the emergence of crack, which is considerably more potent, considerably more dangerous, and a lot cheaper to get involved in, we're building on what was already an emergency problem, an epidemic, and it's affecting our young people in disproportionate
That
numbers.
was a terrible period. Crack was a surprise. It just hit, and nobody knew what it was originally.
I remember when that happened.
It really was pulverized cocaine. What they would do is they'd make it crystal, and by doing that, they would actually increase the potency of it. It was almost like the same thing that they did with other drugs, where they took away the time release. So instead of the cocaine getting absorbed over a 7 or 8 hour period, boom, you get hit with it right away. Yeah. Now, the problem with that is heroin is worse, but cocaine also you can develop a tolerance to, which means you need more of it. So in a very short time, you got to buy an enormous amount of crack, and it costs an enormous amount of money. And you got to go steal, kill to get it.
Right.
And endure an enormous amount of toxicity to your body.
And a lot of that trade was located in Washington Heights in New York.
I remember.
And nobody was paying attention to it. So we actually did that at the request of Bob Stutman, who was the head of DEA, to get public attention for it. Part of that was to get people to understand what crack was. It was a little like, a couple of years ago when people didn't know what fentanyl was.
Yeah.
But it was much more pervasive than fentanyl. Well, maybe not. I mean, fentanyl is around a lot.
Oh, it was
really
a scourge. I remember.
It was really more pervasive.
It was in Newark, New Jersey. It was everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, it was a very, very dangerous drug, and it was. You only needed a small amount. You only had to bring in a small amount in order to get a tremendous amount of use out of it. So it was it changed even the ability to cut off the imports, because they could come in a much smaller amounts, and then you could process it here.
It was affordable for the users, I guess, as well, right?
It was, right.
Yeah.
It was.
Terrible
And
story.
a lot of heroin users, a lot of people back then thought that cocaine was not as dangerous as heroin. And maybe originally cocaine was sort of an entertainer's drug, and heroin was a really degenerate addict's drug.
Yeah. Cocaine was an upscale drug.
Plus, you didn't have to inject cocaine, so the taking of it, was, you would put it in your nose.
Yeah.
So the process of injecting means you've sort of become much more addicted.
Yeah.
You've lost it even more. But when this came out, heroin people wanted this much more than heroin.
So many poor souls died because of that stuff, And
I'll tell you, it made the Colombian cartels and to some extent the Mexican cartels. But in those days, the Mexican cartels, which are now predominant, worked for the Colombian cartels and made them like billionaires. And so that was like 1986, I think.
That was 1986. That's right, Mayor. Wow. You got the year. Wow. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it still works.
Well, but look, no. I mean, your average person, even your average smart person, would have a hard time, going back 39 years.
So
to the exact year.
Did anybody find a Cracker Barrel?
Did we find a Cracker Barrel on the map?
We got the ultimate one.
Where's that?
It was well for us. The nearest one is 30 miles from here.
That's really?
Yeah.
Then we got to go.
Yeah.
But in the meat, so that's a big story. There's a couple other big stories.
Cracker Barrel in New.
The one I'm seeing 30 miles from here, it's in Londonderry, New Hampshire.
Londonderry. Yeah, that's over by that's
Londonderry.
That's in the same direction as Manchester.
Oh, Londonderry is the proper.
But they have both. Like in England, they have both London. Like in Ireland, they have both Londonderry and Derry.
Mm.
They're near each other. But Cracker Barrel, they have an old country store, or are they all named Old Country Store?
I don't know if they all have one, but a lot of them do. Yes.
Yeah, Cracker Barrel in Londonderry.
There we go.
Here are the locations. There it is. Yeah. It's south of Manchester, closer to on the way to Boston. We're gonna have to go there and congratulate them.
Maybe interview some of the people.
Yeah.
Well, there's some other big stories, Mayor. I want to get your reaction.
And I've never been to Cracker Barrel.
Get your reaction to tonight. Let's start with what some folks think is the news of the day.
Pardon?
Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift.
I know. Are you invited to the wedding?
Engaged. I don't believe they're inviting us to the wedding. I don't know if they've watched the show.
I hate that story.
They may not.
No, I think aren't they liberals?
But the president had I thought, a very classy response today. Right.
The president was terrific. I mean, they should listen. They should listen to the show in order to be better educated, even if they're liberals.
I agree. They could learn from our show.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
But any reaction, Mayor, on, look, it's
I'm happy they're getting married. I mean, I don't have any reason to want them to be unhappy.
Right.
I wish they'd be better educated.
Right.
We'll find another.
But I mean, they're not exactly. One's a football player, another's a singer. What are they supposed to know about this stuff?
You find another time other than a presidential.
I'm supposed to defer to them.
Yeah.
I mean, he catches a football and bangs into people.
Yeah.
And she sings the stupidest little songs I've ever heard.
Yeah, jingles.
I'm sorry. I mean, I know she's very talented, and you tell me that, but
that's what they say.
I happen to have a different taste in music, and I just don't think she's particularly anything.
Well, now that we're on the,
and the songs are ridiculous little poetry. I was in love with my boyfriend, and he left me.
Well, this does set them up for a new album.
She's not
involving
exactly
the
Edgar
marriage.
Allan Poe.
Not a lot of thought goes into it. Yeah.
But in any event, I mean, she seems. The political decisions are really stupid, but it seems typical of somebody to be that kind of singer. She's not going to be a great intellect.
Well, I'm disappointed.
You wouldn't be singing that crap if you were a great intellect.
Right. And I'm disappointed. She's my age. She really is, whether I like it or not, the kind of the celebrity of our generation, right, of our era. So to have her, the way
but then you got to look at when you say a celebrity, you got to look at why somebody is a celebrity. And then, I mean, if somebody's a celebrity because they've written, this guy Kotkin, who was quoted the other day, who's written, 2 of the 3 volumes on the biography of Stalin. That's a guy you want to listen to on Russia. He's going to know more about Russia than most people.
Right.
But what are you going to listen to her on? How to write songs about your boyfriend leaving you?
Right.
What kind of life experience is
the oldest BS story in the
and
book?
He's a terrific tight end. One of the most talented.
He's on a good team. He's got a good.
Tell me how that makes him an expert on how we're going to solve the problem with drugs.
Right. Yeah. And that's the Democrat Party for you, right? That's what they rely on.
How is his opinion on who to vote for or not going to be any better than yours or mine? It can be. I don't think it'll be as informed.
And it's the way they endorse, right? It's not just that they endorse the other candidate in that.
Well, of
It's
course, they're going in the
subtle
direction of the
shots.
crowd. I mean,
Yeah.
but they don't show any independence from the prevailing crowd.
right. And they take shots at Trump supporters, in veiled ways as if they're, racist, inbred, hicks.
Well, I don't know how they get
understand the
away with
world.
that since his quarterback is a Trump supporter and the quarterback's wife is a big MAGA.
Right. Well, you notice that they're a little bit more tame with the anti-Trump.
And he's a
stuff.
good player, but the other guy's even better.
Yeah. I think the owners are Trump
I
supporters.
mean, if I
too.
had to keep one or the other, I'd keep the quarterback, right?
Right. But now that we're on the important issues, I want to get your reaction to this from Senator Marco Rubio today during the cabinet meeting. And if you have a position on this, because this is something that's bothered me.
This thing about people getting married on Saturdays during college football season is a scourge, Mr. President. It's dividing families. I don't know if we can have an executive order on this. It's insane, but it's really difficult. There's 7 other months of the year that people can get married, so I just wanted to say that because it's very, very difficult.
I didn't know Marco was a comedian.
Right? That was good.
Well, what do you think of that?
I agree.
I would like.
When are they getting married?
Well, they haven't announced when, so I would guess not. But they will. He's a football guy, so they're not going to do it on a Saturday in the fall. But the senator, the now Secretary of State, brings up a good point.
He thinks they're going to get married on a Saturday?
Yeah, Saturday weddings during the fall can be problematic to us.
Well, maybe during their bye week.
Yeah, right. But then you're going to invite people to the wedding. Your friends and family are fans of other teams who are playing. So the idea is, think of
No, they should
think
get
of your
married after the Super Bowl.
Yes.
Like we're supposed to decide when they get married, right?
Yeah.
They should get married after the Super Bowl. I mean, Kansas City probably has a good chance of being in the Super Bowl again, right?
Right.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, it's going to run out at some point, but I don't know if they didn't look like last year. They didn't. Well, last year they kind of struggled during the year, and then they got up for it during the playoffs.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the way. I remember that used to.
That's how the Giants won the Super Bowl.
That's what the Giants were like that it's sort of like when it's sort of declining.
Yeah.
You can get it back. Even the Patriots, you can get it back up for the Super Bowl, but the season isn't quite as dominant.
Yes. Yeah.
So I mean,
Let's see
Kelsey is getting old. I mean, he's getting beyond.
He's getting up there.
Tight end age, right?
And by up there, I think he's still younger than me. Let's see.
But he's been pounded.
Yeah, I mean, you're
the tight end gets pounded like crazy. But they
he's
actually
35. He's older than me. So
yeah, but they have tight ends have longer careers than running backs.
Yes,
I think running backs probably get used up faster than anybody else.
They do,
unless they're incredible athletes,
right? But you're right. There's a handful of those guys, but now it's almost running back by committee for a lot of teams.
Well, I'm gonna conclude with one sport that I used to love, but I think it's become like a really entitled sport. And I got really upset when I was mayor, and the athlete. And I used to love tennis, and I played tennis a lot until my knees went bad. I used to watch it all. I used to go to the U.S. Open when it was at Forest Hills and at the new stadium. But then when the new stadium was put up, first year it was up, the tennis players got annoyed because the planes were going over. Well, what it requires then is to reroute the planes, and you don't have any margin of error at LaGuardia Airport. It's a very, very narrow runway. It's a little bigger now. They've expanded it. But I just thought it was the height of selfishness to require the FAA, who went along with it because they don't really have any guts to protect us. And they would, when they were having the open, they would limit the number of landing patterns. Well, they don't have enough anyway. In order to let these multimillionaires play a sport with no noise. I mean, the Yankees didn't ask us to reroute, and the Mets in particular didn't ask us to reroute. I mean, Darryl Strawberry seemed to be able to hit home runs without any problem with the airplanes going over.
Right.
I mean, they couldn't hit a tennis ball.
That's interesting.
And no matter what I would say to them, they were just very entitled, and they owned everything. And well, and of course, it's the tickets now. You got to take out a mortgage in order to buy one. So here's the ultimate in entitled, privileged, because a lot of the crowd are a bunch of entitled, privileged assholes at the U.S. Open. Now they're selling something called the caviar-topped chicken nugget for $100. You go up to a stand. There it is. It looks like
Go back.
First of all, that's caviar. It looks like a bunch of bugs, like on a dog. Like what do they have? Those bugs on a dog.
Doesn't look good.
What?
It does not look good to me.
Well, I like caviar. Some people don't.
Well, yeah, but somehow it doesn't look good on a damn chicken McNugget.
Well, according to this article in the Post, according to Lisa Zizzo, a 48-year-old Floridian who paid $100, you get a box of 6 for $100.
We got them up on the screen here.
She bought it at the Cocoa Dock food stand. Now, just to be called Cocoa Dock food stand should not be at a sporting event. Cocoa Dock should be, someplace where the hoi polloi go. And is that it there?
That's it, man.
Yeah.
Well, I'm hungry, so it actually looks good. But $100 for that? You gonna pay $100 for that little box?
$100. Look at those nice fancy cats.
But they said there's only 2. Wait.
By the way, when I get chicken nuggets, 6 chicken nuggets ain't gonna do it.
Well, you're gonna cost you a couple $100.
Yeah.
Suppose you're there with 4 or 5 people and you want to buy, it costs you $1,000 to buy that shit.
It's ridiculous.
Can I get them for a
You're
discount?
buying a bunch of fish eggs.
Yes, I go to the Korean supermarket and I get it much.
Can I just skip the caviar and get them at a discount?
I think this is where it would be an advantage to be Jewish or Muslim. Well, but certainly Jewish, because Jewish people can't eat shellfish, and I don't know if caviar fits into that category.
I don't think so.
No, it doesn't, huh?
It's female fish eggs that come from the uterus, I guess. Yeah.
That is pretty disgusting to think of. That's what it is.
It's very healthy for you, though.
No, it's actually great. It's very expensive usually, right?
Yes.
The good caviar is very expensive.
Yeah.
Not that I would know. I mean, it took me a long time to eat it. I used to be, as a young person, very, very picky eater. I didn't like anything that didn't look good. I still don't like stuff.
Still kind of are like that. What do you mean?
Yeah, but now I can eat that.
The $100 thing, the $100 price tag bothers me. Then again, I'm not like a tennis. That's not my sporting events.
I really love tennis, except they got me so angry it was hard to.
Yeah, I can't.
They weren't thinking about the good of the public, and they should grow up and get used to a little noise.
Yeah,
I mean, who doesn't have noise? I mean,
you're doing the thing in New York
of pitching a ball 90 to 100 miles an hour, and actually to hit it and make sure you don't get killed because it hits you is just as tense and requires just as much concentration as hitting a tennis ball. In fact, it's more dangerous. You're not going to die from a tennis ball hitting you. You could die from a pitcher throwing a 100-mile-an-hour fastball at you.
Absolutely, yeah.
You got to have complete concentration when you do it. And they don't seem to mind if an airplane's going over or the crowd is yelling.
Right.
So get used to it. I just hate it when they say, quiet down. Everyone should quiet down, like we're at a funeral.
Yeah.
In a church. We should quiet down so these multimillionaires can bang a ball back and forth.
Or like they're doing heart surgery or something.
They can't get disturbed. Now it's going to get worse with $100 caviar. I remember the first time I went to LA Stadium, they were serving sushi. And I said, get that crap out of here. Sushi at a baseball? I like sushi also. Not at a baseball game.
Give me a hot dog and some sauerkraut.
A hot dog, a hamburger.
Yeah.
Hot dog and
peanuts,
hot dog, nachos, hamburger, fries.
This is why MAGA people are revolting against Cracker Barrel and all these other things. They're getting too
they're trying to change. Like, I'm not going to Cracker Barrel for a
yeah, and they're going to get rid of the. I mean, I go to Cracker Barrel because I like that guy there. He looks like a regular guy, an American who would go fight for us and die for us.
Yeah,
not some kind of a sissy boy like Mandami or who can't lift 130. Probably can't lift 35 pounds.
Well, we're gonna take some credit along with the president. We've been talking about it, so we'll take some credit with our audience for saving the Cracker Barrel man and his barrel. They wanted to kick him off. They wanted to throw him out with the barrel.
That
Like,
that
what
didn't
the
last
hell were they
long.
thinking?
That one didn't last long.
That didn't last long. Woke is dead.
Yeah,
I think it's fair
no,
to
it
say
should be.
wokeism.
It
Thank
should be dead.
God.
That's just another example. This is another good example, right?
You know
where-
who is stepping up now? A lot of the Indian organizations, American Indian or
We gotta get the
indigenous
Redskins.
people or whatever we're supposed to call them.
we want to honor them.
They're coming forward like they're getting really upset about this thing in Massapequa, where
Oh yeah.
the nickname of the team of the Massapequa high school team were the Chiefs. And New York passed a law that you got to get rid of all references, even like Thunderbird. Some other high school is Thunderbirds. Now I don't even know that was particularly Native American or Indian or I don't know what's wrong with it.
Yeah, it's a car. Thunderbird.
And what's wrong with Cleveland Indians? I don't get it.
And what's wrong with Chief? Chief is a cool name to be
Chiefs,
called.
I mean, are they going to change the Kansas City Chiefs?
Right. Not yet, but I don't think they'll get away with it now that
No, I don't think they will.
but
They
there was
will
that
get
time
away.
period.
I mean, but so some of the Native Americans, the Indians, have come forward, or some of their organizations, and they're complaining about it. They said, "Well, this is like creating a totally unrealistic, anti-historical picture of the Indians. If they had things like braves and chiefs, even if they had warriors,
well,
you should know that. I mean."
Well, they honor the Native Americans, right?
In fact, if they were fighting for their land, they should be respected, and their contribution should be respected.
It's like an unprovoked cancellation.
What's the purpose of doing that?
Right.
They honored the Native Americans, right? They
Well, I
tied
think
in
they
the
did.
Native American
Like
culture.
the family of the Redskin that was for 30 or 40 years, that was a particular head of a tribe.
Right.
Well, the family has come forward now and say they disrespected him by taking down his, even if they're going to change the name, they should keep his face. He was a symbol of the team.
Right. Okay, imagine how proud, I mean, this is the largest, most expensive.
And the whole tribe was like, which is now probably owns a casino and is worth a lot of money.
Right. No, it's absurd.
And where would that have happened except in America? I mean, okay, they went through a very bad period, but now.
And they honored the Native American culture. They would educate the fans. People learned about these cultures. Now they threw it all out. So they're whitewashing the whole thing. And they're getting it's absurd.
I don't want to cause trouble, but how do the Chiefs keep their name and the Braves?
Right.
And
Ownership.
Braves
I want to say ownership.
And the Indians had to get rid of it. I don't get it.
Ownership. I think it's simple as ownership. The Redskins and Dan Snyder at the time, if I remember correctly, he wanted to sell the team. Part of it was money. And I think he probably felt the name change or agreeing to a name change was part of there's obviously money, right, as a factor, and then cowardice. So you had it's an ownership thing. The Hunt family went to Kansas City Chiefs. I don't know where they stand on it, but I don't know if I can guess.
Pressure. Have they had pressure?
I'm sure. Oh yeah, right. They were getting pressure, maybe not as much as Redskins.
Well, yeah, I mean in New York, they're
Chiefs.
requiring the high school to get rid of the name Chiefs.
Yeah, so there is pressure, and I'm sure the NFL. And again, these feckless. A lot of these owners are feckless.
Is
whichever way the wind blows, right?
A suck up.
Yeah, they'll do anything for the bottom line. Maybe not as bad as the NBA, but they're right. They're close.
Well, no, the NBA sells out to China. That's about as bad as it can get.
It's comical.
Let's see if we can sell out the communist murderers.
Remember when LeBron James came out and criticized us for criticizing China?
Great historian, LeBron James. So he's sucking up to a country that's killed 100 million of their own people. That's really great.
Laura Ingraham told him to shut up and dribble, and somehow that's like a racist thing. I totally agree. Laura Ingraham. What's wrong? Poor LeBron James, this like $1 billion athlete, right? As if us telling him to shut up and dribble is like, oh, we're the bad guys. No, shut up and dribble, LeBron. That's not racist. You say it 1,000,000 times. There is not one thing about that that's and you're not bullying LeBron James. The guy's a billionaire athlete.
Stupid, you should get called out for it.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you're promoting atheistic, homicidal communism that wants to kill us and has killed a lot of people, you should be pointed out to be a stupid idiot.
Yeah, and to
not because you're black or white, it's because you just don't have any brains.
And to be fair, LeBron James, I don't think he graduated high school, right? He got drafted and went pro. Maybe he got an honorary degree, but that's who millions of NBA fans and are listening to for political advice. And
well,
What a joke.
Well, we're well into hour number 3 here.
That's what we're here for. To give you the truth. We look for the stuff that they don't cover.
This show, this show was excellent. This was an excellent show. I'm going to tell you. And I remember watching the mayor earlier today, compiling all of the information that he has in front of him. I mean, think about the effort that goes into making this show.
But I try to get the things that other people.
It's amazing.
Aren't going to cover.
I mean, I'm self-boasting, I guess. But look, when you see what I see every day, what Ted sees every day, it's amazing that somebody's willing to put so much time and effort into making sure that truth is being disseminated into our.
I didn't notice that when Trump visited the police and the National Guard in D.C., he brought them all pizza. That reminds me, he used to do that on the campaign when I used to travel with him. You know what he also used to do? He would go in and he'd give somebody like a couple $100 to go buy pizza for all the cops.
Yeah. Right.
He'd give
That's a sign of a good guy, right? Someone that cares about others. When you're getting,
it requires you to. This is very important in maintaining your empathy and it requires you to think about other people.
Right. Yeah.
If you're thinking about other people, it's going to help you avoid becoming a narcissist.
Yes.
It's almost like an exercise that can help you avoid just thinking about yourself. But okay, so
one video.
You come back tomorrow and we will. Yeah, there it is. That's see that ATF group? Now they could do Chicago a lot of good because they can take guns off the street.
Right.
And then you can prosecute the gun cases in federal court or take the burden off the state court, and federal courts are just a lot stricter.
How proud the people are of their leadership. You never saw that in the Biden administration. People didn't know when he was going to fall down a flight of stairs or not.
Imagine being an American and looking at this and being.
I mean, how can you object to doing that? That's such a good thing to do to help their morale.
Absolutely. Yeah.
This is absurd.
Yeah.
Well,
we were all subjected to absurdity.
Pray for the people of Ukraine. Pray for people of Israel and Iran. Pray for the people of Washington, D.C. and of Chicago, where their governor and their mayor are turning down possible 500 National Guard, 1,000, and 800 to 1,000 federal agents. You've got to be out of your mind to do that. You got to be so consumed with partisanship that you just don't care about human life anymore. Or you got to be a stupid idiot like maybe the governor and the mayor are. I don't think it's that. I think it's partisanship. I mean, they've got themselves. I don't even think they believe it.
Right.
I agree.
I don't even think they believe most of them. I mean, maybe the some of the ordinary Democrats
are dumb enough to.
But
agree.
these guys are all operators.
That's right.
Right.
They've got an agenda. That's the reason why they're doing it. They know it's not good for the people.
The Democratic Party is filled with crooks.
Yeah.
But they got to get their act together. I mean,
it's hard to be a Democrat and be honest, given the pressure of the other crooks. I'm not talking about the people who vote down. I'm talking about the people who hold public office. Because it really gets tied up a lot in what they can get out of it.
One of our great moderators in our chat section, Tim Mombrod, with a great comment. Biden only gave out auto pens, not pizza. I like that.
Hey, Tim. Good one, Tim. Good. Tim has been out there for a long time.
He wouldn't give up anything. Keep it for himself.
Yeah.
Right.
He never offered anybody any ice cream.
Right. Right. Even the ice cream. What
if Trump would go to the ice cream pies for everybody?
You'd see President Trump.
And don't think that Biden isn't rich. I mean, the guy took a fortune from China.
Oh, yeah, he's got some walking around money. He could be hooking everybody
walking around money. He's got foreign accounts that nobody wants to look at. I mean, I couldn't convince anybody even to interview the people that were willing to give up the foreign account.
Well, would you ever let Joe Biden make your French fries? He'd screw that up. I wouldn't let him. Look at President Trump behind the fry counter. Joe Biden couldn't do this.
Look how interested
He'd burn himself, probably.
He's really trying very hard to do it right, too.
Yeah.
Because if he does something, he has to do it right.
He takes pride, and and just the act of doing it, right?
Can you see how concentrated
he focuses.
Yeah. But it's showing respect and showing these young workers, right, to have pride in your work. Joe Biden always liked to talk about it, right? Oh, pretending to care about working people
and lie about what he did.
Yeah. You know what? President Trump is there showing through action.
We're going a little too long, I think. I'm trying to say goodbye, but you guys want to say goodbye.
It's my first day back, Mayor. I'm excited. What do you mean? Come on.
Well, welcome back. And
We love this show. We love this show.
God bless
We
America.
love the mayor, too.
God bless America.
Good show.
Andrew, you're all excited about it?
Absolutely.
Would you like to say something?
This is a great opportunity, Mr. President, to show off the first 250 years of the United States of America, the greatness and then the hope and promise of the next 250 years. When you think this World Cup is going to be over our 250th birthday, Mr. President, your leadership, obviously, with FIFA leading the way, this is the largest sporting event in the history of the world under the Trump administration. So very excited.
I just want to say one thing. Andrew Giuliani, so his father is Rudy, the greatest mayor in the history of New York, I think by far. He took a ravaged city, a city that was really under siege. Probably most people thought it was going to survive. He turned it around. He was a great, great mayor. And then they treated him very, very unfairly. You go back and tell your father all of the things that have come out over the last couple of months through Tulsi and through all of the people, Cash, everybody. They've proven your father 100% correct. His father was treated so unfairly. Your father has been 100% correct. And tell him we all love him, okay?
Thank you, Mr. President.
He's been amazing. What he had to go through was very, very unfair, nasty. These are bad people.
It's our purpose to bring to bear the principle of common sense and rational discussion to the issues of our day. America was created at a time of great turmoil, tremendous disagreements, anger, hatred. There was a book written in 1776 that guided much of the discipline of thinking that brought to us the discovery of our freedoms, of our God-given freedoms. It was Thomas Paine's Common Sense, written in 1776, one of the first American bestsellers, in which Thomas Paine explained, by rational principles, the reason why these small colonies felt the necessity to separate from the Kingdom of Great Britain and the King of England. He explained their inherent desire for liberty, for freedom, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, the ability to select the people who govern them. And he explained it in ways that were understandable to all the people, not just the elite. Because the desire for freedom is universal. The desire for freedom adheres in the human mind, and it is part of the human soul. This is exactly the time we should consult our history. Look at what we've done in the past and see if we can't use it to help us now. We understand that our founders created the greatest country in the history of the world, the greatest democracy, the freest country, a country that has taken more people out of poverty than any country ever. All of us are so fortunate to be Americans. But a great deal of the reason for America's constant ability to self-improve is because we're able to reason, we're able to talk,